This is Women in Business. Welcome, I'm Fenly Foxen. Companies are often faced with the tedious task of sifting through piles of CVs and interviewing person after person. This in the hunt for the most talented executives that also fits your company's needs. One could save a lot of time and money by simply getting someone else to do it for you. And Pratt is a director of one of South Africa's leading executive search companies, Pratt & Associates, and has developed an impressive track record in executive search and management selection for companies in South Africa and globally, and she's here to chat to us. Welcome, Anne. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Pratt & Associates, why did you start a company of this nature?
11 and a half years ago, we saw there was a strategic need in South Africa for a world-class, premium quality executive search firm that was truly committed to transformation and empowerment. And if you recall back in those days, you know, transformation was something people thought about, and it was an intellectual decision. But we recognized the market had a real need for that, and we felt we were well positioned to close that gap.
Yeah. At a time when the world, Africa is also going through a global downturn, how is it affecting your company?
I think all businesses are affected to some extent, but I think we've been fortunate. We've had very niche, premium, top-end assignments, and I think that's really as a result of having built up a well-respected brand over many years.
Yeah. What kind of risk management have you put in place thus far, though?
I think in terms of risk management, it's about, firstly, your own people. So it's about finding ways of attracting and keeping your people, ensuring that they're growing and developing. And I think the other side of it is really the customer service approach. And I think many search firms, not all of them, but many of them, if you view the customer, they think of the corporate client who's given them the assignment and paying the bills. For us, the candidate is equally our client. And I think just having a consistent service delivery standard, treating them with the same turnaround, and building up those relationships over many years. So talking to them even when you don't have a particular assignment. It's about taking an interest in a human being.
At a time when companies are actually downsizing, are you finding that companies are coming to you and saying, we're looking for this talent, this pool of talent, for example? Is that happening still?
I think it is. And I think...
Has it slowed down, though?
I think yes. I think to some extent it has, but when you positioned at the premium top end, it's really about a couple of key strategic positions. So I think in terms of that, we've still found that we've been asked to help boards and companies deal with top appointments. And I think in down times, it's often the opportunity is there for really good, competent people. I think also in downturns in the economy, the golden handcuffs like shares and keeping people in place because of, you know, share options and things, that diminishes. So often you can move good people.
Yeah. Executive talent, that's what you specialize in, but which sectors are still looking at this time?
Clearly, and we've seen it, you know, government and state-owned enterprises. There's a lot of challenge and a lot of work there, and yeah, we've been involved in an initiative proactively to identify people from the private sector who wouldn't mind going in and helping government in certain ministries and stuff, and of course in the state-owned enterprises.
But do you poach people from another private company for a private company?
Well, we have very clear off-limit policies, so there's an ethical standard. We would never take out somebody we've put into an organisation ever. And very often, even if people are going through slightly difficult times, often our role is to facilitate and help them stay committed to the company. And we take that seriously because it's about the company getting a long-term investment. And if one's done one's job properly and created a happy marriage, then there's no reason why that shouldn't be. Every marriage has its ups and downs. So we would never take someone out we put in. As long as a company is a client, we would never take anybody out of their organisation. And 2 years after our last assignment, we still would not take anybody out. So there are clear off-limit policies. But if you design your strategy appropriately, you can often, you know, we have a strategy that says these are the sorts of companies in the sector we want to work with, and therefore those companies would be our places that we source from.
When you're sifting through CVs and you're seeing that a person has job hopped too often, how does that place them? Yeah, I often talk about this. I think there's some really good people, and I think for top black executives, often it's quite difficult for them too, because if they're good, they're in demand, and often I talk to them off the record, and even if it means we don't place them, but you know, what I say to them is you need to be strategic about your career. You need to show companies that you can not only go and get a grip on the job, but consolidate in the position and deliver. And normally at a strategic level, it takes a good 3 years for an exec to really make their presence felt. So we encourage them not to do that. And often we see great talent and we say, you know, we really want you to succeed long term. We've had assignments where clients have said to us, if anyone's got less than 2 years minimum in any one company, we're not interested, don't even bring their CV. So we really try and guide people in terms of that. What is a good span to be staying at a company? What time span would you say one should be staying? It's a good one.
I think, you know, minimum, and again, you know, climbing up the ladder, I think 3 to 5 years. I think 3 years minimum for the reasons I've given. And I think it just shows. But, you know, again, what you find sometimes, people may have a 6-year stint in an organisation, then they may have a 2-year stint and something hasn't quite worked out, but then, you know, they have stability again. So you've got to look at the overall picture. But there needs to be a general track record of sustainable and stable performance. You pick it up quickly.
Now, your company has been featured in the best companies to work for. Why would you say that it is?
I think it's, I think our global position, we are a niche entrepreneurial business, but we've tied up globally. We have world-class standards. We're very strong on being well-branded with a strong reputation. And I think often that attracts high-performing people who want to come through the ranks. I think we've had the privilege of working with and developing some of the great talent in our industry. And we've, you know, and some of them, I mean, I suppose growing up in Unilever, I have a Unilever philosophy in a way that says, you know, if people come in and they're young and we take them through the ranks and they're with us minimum 3 to 5 years, but minimum 3, we've had a return on investment and they've had a great training ground. And so far that's proven true.
Sure. Are there enough executives in South Africa to go around, though?
Big question. and a hot issue. And my friend Jimmy Mani would have very, you know, clear thoughts about that. I think there are good executives, and I think it's often about employers' attitude towards bringing in good execs. I mean, we had an assignment for non-exec directors with a company that was delisted and then bought and is subsequently delisted. But they were looking for non-execs, people of colour. The strategy was, let's find people who are not the normal non-execs, let's grow the pool. And with the client, we discussed and agreed that they would induct these people as part of their appointment. They would be sent for proper board training with their auditors, with, you know, the Institute of Directors, etc. So that assignment, the strategy was, let's find talent, let's give them the necessary tools to develop, and let's help them grow into the position. And the client turned around and said they were amazed at how many good people there were to choose from. They appointed 3 non-execs from the pool that we presented, and happy to say they all did extremely well. So I think it's an attitude thing. I think there are good people. And I think South Africa has a lot of anomalies at the moment, because at the same time, there's this kind of frustration of mediocrity and service delivery. I mean, we see it manifested, you know, in townships, many ways. So, yeah.
Would you say Jimmy Emmanuel would disagree with your point of view, though?
I think we may agree on some levels and perhaps